So I have this interesting point of view that I wanted to share with you around emotions. And it's not really a common way of looking at things, but I hope it will become more common because when you think about your emotions in this way and other people's emotions in this way, it will allow you to have more control over your emotions, to allow you to not only stop doing the emotions that you want to lessen in your life, but also will allow you to have more rich and robust emotions, the emotions that would improve the quality of your life more deliberately, more consciously, more intentionally, and more on purpose. And so if you're interested in becoming a better manager of your emotions rather than having your emotions manage you, then I hope you enjoy my point of view on this, which is that every time you experience an emotion, you are practicing that emotion. Now, let me say that again because I think it's pretty important to start to wrap your head around this, which is every time you are experiencing an emotion, you are practicing that emotion. And well, why is it that certain things happen in the world and you respond one way, but that same thing would happen to a bunch of people and a lot of people would have a lot of different reactions? You know, it's not that the thing is saddening, the thing is angerful, the thing is scary. It's that the thing makes me afraid. But somebody else, it might make them feel courage, or it might actually make them feel excited and compelled to do it. You know, skydiving or bungee jumping. Well, not my idea of a good time, but somebody else might go, ooh, I love that. That sounds like fun. So why is it that one thing could have multiple reactions from lots of different people? Well, it's because you were trained to respond that way, whether deliberately or accidentally. Most likely it was accidental, at least at an early age, that when those things in our lives got introduced to us, we were trained to respond in a certain way. And over time, we developed a habit of practicing when that stimulus occurs, this is how I respond. When that stimulus occurs, this is how I respond. Now, it probably doesn't feel like you're practicing when this is going on. To you, it feels like the truth, it feels like the reality, because that's how our neuro-linguistic, our neurosemantic states are designed to be, is that once we're in them, they're designed to feel real, to feel true, and to feel, like the reality of the situation. But again, what I'm proposing to you is to start to think of that whenever those situations occur and you are reacting in the way that you're reacting, that actually you are practicing, you're strengthening that groove in your mind that makes it even more likely that you'll respond that way next time because you're practicing. And you know that which you practice, you probably know that you get better at those things, and those things that you stop practicing, well, the skills start to deteriorate, they start to not be as good until you come back and you start practicing again. So what can we take away from this insight? Well, first of all, to recognize that if you're having an emotion, especially if it's a semantically loaded response or a semantic reaction, meaning that and you can check out my channel here for video. Just Google or YouTube, what is a semantic reaction, or search it on my channel, semantically loaded or semantic reaction. But if your response is not to anything in the environment, so you are calm and cool environment, you're at home by yourself or whatever it may be, you're in the car, driving by yourself, but you have a strong negative emotion, anger, fear, anxiety, sadness, but it's not related to anything that's going on in the environment right now, well, you're having a semantic reaction. And the good thing to recognize is that, well, you're just practicing that. If you think about it as a skill, well, it's not a bad thing that it's happening. You are actually really good at it, and you're practicing even more, which can give you some leverage to start to interrupt that state and to maybe give yourself a break to go, okay, wait a minute, I'm practicing something right now that I don't want to practice. Imagine you were, practicing, free throws at the basketball court behind your neck. You go, oh, over your head, behind, the backboard's behind you. You go, is that really something that I want to be practicing right now? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. If not, well, it's okay. It'll give you some leverage to stop practicing. And again, if you want to learn how to interrupt your semantic reactions, I can post a link to that video around here. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you're interested in learning more content like that. But so again here, so not only can we recognize that when we're experiencing our less than resourceful emotions that we're practicing them, But also it gives us some power to practice deliberately and consciously and intentionally to practice our empowering, resourceful emotions, the emotions that we'd like to have more of in our life. And once we practice those emotions enough, we can even get them to become part of our attitude, our way of being in the world. In fact, if you think about your attitude or other people's attitudes, because again, our attitudes are probably pretty unconscious to us most of the time because we're like a fish in water swimming in it. But if you look at other people's attitudes, well, their attitudes are really just in some ways, and I'm oversimplifying it here, they are built and comprised of the emotions, the states that they've been practicing over and over and over again in their life to the point where it's kind of generalized into just their way of being. But you can intentionally set your own attitudes if you practice the emotions that you want to experience more of in your life. I also have a video on this channel of, I believe it's called the 6 Levels of State Mastery. Again, I'll try to link to that somewhere around here. And of course, feel free to comment if you can't find it. That will give you some levels of practicing your states so that you can get them into your neurology deeper and deeper and deeper to the point where you can actually set your own attitude. But if you're not deliberately and consciously practicing the states that you want to practice, then I highly encourage you to do that. In fact, that's the basis of why people have a meditation practice, is they're practicing the meditation state. But it doesn't have to be limited to practicing meditation. You can practice all sorts of states. And I've got lots of videos on this channel about how to practice acceptance, because I think that's one of the great foundational states for you to practice. But again, just keep in mind that, well, actually, even before I close out this video, I want to say one more thing, which is that if you've ever moved along the mastery pathway towards mastering a certain skill in your life, whatever that may be, professionally, as a hobby, personally, any skill that you've gotten good at, one of the things that you've probably realized is that the mastery pathway never ends. Even Olympic athletes can always shave off another 1/10 of a second, another fraction of a second, that it never ends. There's always an improvement. And as you get better and better, it becomes more difficult. You have to put in a lot more work to get a little bit of improvement. But earlier on, when you're not used to practicing something, you can go for, it's a lot easier to go from a 10-minute mile to an 8-minute mile than it is to go from a 4-minute and 30-second mile to a 4-minute mile. But so there's never an end to the mastery pathway, to the mastery journey. And so the amazing thing is, if you practice the emotions that you want to have on a daily basis, which is something that, again, I recommend you do. It's something that I do multiple times throughout my day. And I think it's one of the secret keys to unleashing your productivity, to unleashing your fulfillment in life, because the quality of your life is dependent on the quality of your states. And if your states are in response to the world, well, then we really don't know what the quality of our life is going to be. But if our states are practiced intentionally and deliberately, then we can more consciously and deliberately determine the quality of our life. And so I encourage you again to practice your states that you'd like to have throughout the day. Now, if you would like some support in that, I have a course coming up on the Emotional Mastery Toolbox. I'll put a link to that around here somewhere, where I will guide you through that process of taking states that are kind of to lessen the states that you don't want and to take more deliberate, conscious control over your states so that you can actually even turn them into your attitude if you'd like to do that. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. I hope you found this video valuable. I'll put some links to these other videos around here. Always feel free to leave your questions, comments, wherever you can around this video. Again, I invite you to subscribe to my channel if you found this video valuable and you'd like to see more content like this. As always, I hope to see you in a future video, in the comments section, and perhaps in a future course. So wishing you a much more control over your emotional states as you move out into the future, so that you can consciously and deliberately improve the quality of your life through consciously and deliberately improving the quality of your emotions and practicing them regularly and on purpose and intentionally, and to recognize when you're practicing emotions that don't serve you so that you can stop practicing them and allow those skills to deteriorate so that you can replace them with more rich and resourceful ones out into your future. So sending lots of appreciation your way, and I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day.